The riff that you and I are about to play together, this is going to help you break out of playing the same types and styles of riffs over and over again. I think you're going to enjoy this one, so break out your guitar. Don't break it out, like get it out, and let's play this together. Now, towards the end there, we did play a cool little riff, and again, we're going to go over this note for note, but for the most part, this rhythm is just a simple single note pattern. We're arpeggiating these notes almost like if you were playing clean guitar, but we're not playing clean today. Real quick, my Patreon supporters, you guys have the tabs and the backing tracks for this lesson. Do hang around for the end for our usual guitar chat. Let's play this out in the open, and we'll break everything down. Alright, let's start with the simple stuff. And again, guys, I'm in E standard tuning for this lesson. This is actually kind of like part 2 of the lesson I put out 2 weeks ago. I'll leave that in the description of this video if you want to go back and watch that after this one. So it's sort of like the Metallica chord, right? The same configuration, same finger positioning that you would play like Sanitarium 1, Fade to Black, right? That famous chord. But we're not playing it on the A and the D strings. Actually, we're starting out on the E and A string. So E string, 2nd fret, A string, 4th fret, and we're leaving that D string open. Now, what I do after that is I just slide the 2nd fret up to the 3rd fret there, okay? So it's like this. Which to me is just a wicked sound. It's just a really cool sound that you get out of that. Let's go over that one more time. So I do that, but then actually that second time around, I go to a variation of that A chord that we would play. So I go just like this. So again, that's an A variation of an A chord there. I'm on the 5th fret, again, of the E string. And then the next string, we're on the 4th fret. And again, that D string just remains open the entire time. I like that because that's that constant. Everything else is changing, but you've got that one constant in there. Have you ever heard a real cool song where like the guitar is doing a lot of stuff, but the bass lines just stay in constant, right? Or vice versa. The bass line is doing, you know, some other stuff, and the guitar is just holding out that constant chord or whatever, right? So that D string, that open D string stays constant. So then we do that, the variation of the A, then we go back to how we played the variation of the G there. And I know there's some technical terms for these notes and chords and such. I just usually call them variations, right? We're basing this on an F sharp, then we've got a G, then we've got an A, right? So again, here's that little riff. Now the second time around, we're going to play the exact same thing starting out, but we're just going to double time it. We're going to play it basically twice here. So it's going to sound like this until we get to the riff part, which we'll break that down as well. Then we go into this riff right here. Which that riff, how to simplify this, is pretty basic for the most part. Kind of that Ozzy's cool part of Crazy Train kind of thing going on here. But we're just playing the F sharp, right? Technically an F sharp minor, but we're playing the F sharp power chord. We're basing it on that power chord. And if you think about it, these are our notes here, right? E string, second fret, okay, then our A string, 4 and 5. I like to break things down at that level sometimes, like, okay, that's on playing, I just need to figure out the cadence and, you know, where each note goes and so forth. That to me just makes things a little bit easier to take that next step, okay? If that's, you know, a challenging riff for you. You are going back and forth between the strings. That can be challenging sometimes. It's even challenging, you know, for myself at times, depending on the riff. So we're going to start with the A string 5th fret, okay? I'm going to play that a couple times and go back to the E string 2nd fret, and then we'll flop back and forth between 4 and 5 on the A string. So okay, that's pretty much it. And of course we speed that up a little bit. And I'm playing all those with downstrokes. There's no right or wrong way if you want to alternate pick that. I like the sound and just kind of the tone and texture I get from playing downstrokes for that particular riff, going back and forth. But I don't say there's a right or wrong way. I mean, again, if you're better at alternate picking that and it sounds better to you, well, that's the right way for you, okay? So in any case, after that little riff, we go to this. Just a variation of that A there, okay? First two strings, 5 and 4. Then we go 5, 5. And then I do a little palm mute and just go to a regular G power chord. Sometimes I'll share this with you real quick, and then we'll run through the whole thing one last time before our guitar chat coming up. A lot of times I'll do a little palm mute in between like phrases or notes or chords, changing chords or going from one place to another. I might not palm mute an actual note. I might just kind of like a placeholder, if that makes sense. So I kind of just wanted to demonstrate that real quick, because sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what I'm playing, what song I'm writing, or riff I'm writing in this case. But I like how that sounds. Hear that in the middle? Sometimes I might just palm mute an open E string there real quick, as long as that's in the key and it fits. Or I might palm mute one of the other notes that I'm either going from or to. It's just a placeholder, right? And I encourage you to play around with that and see what feels right. Maybe you do the open string sometimes, maybe another note another time. See what sounds best for you. I say that because I want to encourage you to experiment. Learn what I'm sharing with you, but branch out quickly away from what I'm sharing with you and make it your own. Just experiment and see what sounds cool to you. Let's run through this one more time. Quick reminder for my Patreon supporters, you guys had the tabs and backing tracks. Please remember to download those. Real quick, you know the backing tracks, for those of you who aren't familiar with what I offer on Patreon, I basically just give you the tabs and backing tracks that you can jam along to these types of lessons here. For rhythms, I'll give you 2 backing tracks. One's the full mix, over a minute long, but then I give you another track that's just the bass and drums for that same riff, right? So this allows you to do what we just talked about. And guys, you know I'm huge on this. Learn the riffs I'm sharing with you, learn the techniques and the concepts, but quickly expand on them. So that drums and bass track, well, that allows you to just kind of fill in the gaps that you might be hearing with your own notes and just kind of take it somewhere else and make it your own. I really think that's when you start really developing your own personal style and sound, and I'm huge on that. And also, real quick, I want to let you know, if you don't have my free practice guide, Metal Riffs and Licks, do grab a copy of that. There is a link in the description for my free practice guide, as well as my Patreon, and I've got some other resources for you in the description as well, so do check that out. I want to quickly revisit what we talked about in the very beginning, kind of what this video is all about. And it's just breaking away from the normal riffs and power chords, which are awesome. They're amazing. I mean, I love riffs. I love power chords. I mean, everything that makes up metal music. I don't care what subgenre you play. It's all cool. This is just one of those things, and you hear it in some songs, right? You probably hear it in a lot of songs, but when you're just playing those single notes, letting them ring out a little bit, I think it just adds a different dynamic to your song, especially if you're writing your own stuff, which, again, I encourage you to do. Maybe let some of those notes ring out. You know, as guitar players, it's easy to get caught up in, well, I just played this series of notes, I gotta play another note right after, and another note. It's gotta be fast, it's gotta be aggressive and all that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you can find yourself in the trap of just playing the same stuff over and over. And like I said before, even if it's different, even if you're playing different riffs and different notes, it just kind of all like bundles together. How many albums have you listened to by bands that are great and maybe a great album, but at the end of the day, everything just kind of runs together? There wasn't really a lot of dynamics between songs. You know, some do that, some don't. Well, this is just a good way if you're looking for that. This is just a good lesson to use and branch out and just add some of those single notes, let them ring out a little bit. We played kind of a fast riff towards the end there, so you can throw things like that in and then pull it back out and go to arpeggiating those notes or just playing something a little different. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about the riff. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was a fun riff to play, a little bit different than the norm. So again, leave me any questions. Hey, please give this video a like if it helped you, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to check out all the links and resources I have for you in the description of this video. I've got some helpful stuff in there, as well as the video that goes to the first lesson that goes with this. I also have a link to the video what this whole riff is based on. This is actually based on a big video I did a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago prior to this video. I think it's called 7 Ways to Sound Heavier in E Standard Tuning, something like that. So I'll throw that in there. Again, the description of this video, I've got a lot more resources for you, so check that out, guys. Guys, until the next one, keep it metal and keep playing music.
Crushed by your